Okay, week 18 of the Designerama, and this week we're focused on team collaboration. And a lot of what you'll see here isn't necessarily directives to go find people and work with them. I think it would be a great idea if you did that. Find someone who is technical developer, someone who is a product owner, and participate in these exercises with them. And you can certainly do that through the design community IXDF. You can go to the discussion boards and see if you can pull people in for this week long challenge, or go into your local community, go into the Discord, or just go into your personal network and say, hey, I've got these 5 things, this week long challenge I want to work on, and I want to work on it with a real team. But the 5 steps will be things that you might do as informal activities or formal activities in order to support shared understanding and seek alignment. A lot of it is just documenting something that people can reflect upon to potentially surface more challenges or more considerations, and these can be very iterative. So you writing user stories that you see on the screen right now could be a very iterative thing as you refine them into meaningful things. And so what this means is that you may pick something fairly broad, you may pick something fairly narrow, but what I would say is write 5 to 7 user stories that describe users' needs and intended outcomes. So, good user story, just to start with, there are different ways of doing this, but as a user, I want to um, do something so that I achieve an outcome. And usually that goal or outcome is going to be descriptive of why they're doing what they're doing. So if it was a fairly narrow user story, it would be, as a customer, I want to select an address so that the thing will be delivered to me. As a user, I want to enter a new address so that I can have something delivered to a place I've never had it delivered before. And that is an okay user story, but it could also be, um, as a user, I want to meet people in my area who have said common interest with me so that I can collaborate with them on that shared interest. So they can be fairly descriptive of sort of broad concepts, or they can be interactions within an experience. Um, if you want to solve a bigger problem, you would go with the broader ones. If you have something that you're trying to refine, like an experience that you're trying to refine, you may want to go with narrow ones. And then, share your user stories in a way that others can build on them. You could potentially categorize them by which priority they are. So, which one is the highest priority? It'd be important to do in sort of an agile or Kanban environment. Um, or you can categorize them by feature area. So, if there's a specific part of the experience that these are clustered into, you could cluster them just as an exercise to say, oh, these are relevant to this particular section. It's something you might do when working on software. So day 2, align the team. And this is one where you may not actually produce this formally. Sometimes you might. But it's a good exercise to go through. Just to write down, hey, this is what I think the actual problem is, and have something that someone can read and agree with you on it, or provide their input. Sometimes we will say, hey, we're trying to solve X, Y, and Z, but not really write it down or formalize it. And in formalizing it, typically we add color to the picture, and it's good to make sure that color it resonates with everyone around you. So just as an exercise, develop a team alignment doc that summarizes the project's scope, goals, user needs, assumptions, and roles. Use a really lightweight format. Google Doc will work. Text document will work. Google Doc will allow you to export it as a PDF. Notion works too. If you typically work in Confluence and you're doing this with a team, you can use Confluence. But write a problem statement that you're the big thing that you're solving. Write a handful of key objectives, so things that are very high level that will help you achieve that problem statement. Pick your key users from day one. So pick the people who you think are your key users right now. That may change over time. Your objectives may change. Your problem statement may change over time. But it's good to get your assumption right now down on paper so that you can start moving forward toward it. Team roles. So they can be real team roles. You can have real people focused on real segmentation of work based on the people that you're working with, or you can just hypothetically say, well, I think I'm going to need, front-end developer, back-end developer, data engineer, so on and so forth. And design principles or constraints. So if you if you know of anything that is front of mind that causes challenges with what you're trying to do, or if there are principles you want to pursue. So maybe you because of this app want to pursue WCAG AAA within a particular version. You can put that in there. Or maybe you can only work in certain technical systems, or you can only work with certain tools for whatever reason. Write it down. Day 3, create consistency. Develop a shared style guide. This one is fairly design focused. You could call it a style guide if you want to get into design system, maybe kind of a big task, but start to think about, from a design perspective, how you can establish consistency across the experience right now by picking basic typography, color palettes, buttons, form styles, iconography, voice and tone guides. And this may mean going into and finding a library that developers can work with that will create consistency but is modifiable as you move forward. And this may be an opportunity to consult. If this is a real project, consult with your developers and say, hey, we're starting this thing. Do you have any thoughts about what you would want to work with? I think stylistically, I'd want it to look like in a particular way. Maybe you've investigated some component libraries that present the way you want, but then ask them, hey, do you think this would fit within the project? Do you think this is something that could be modified to support our needs as we move forward? Sometimes it can be a really hard conversation. So it's worth trying to have that and see how that goes. Day 4, share and improve. Run a design critique session. So choose a piece of work, it could be yours, your peers, and run a structured design critique. This can be done live or asynchronously, and use a simple critique framework. For instance, I like, I wish, what if, and summarize the feedback and next steps. If you're on your own, just go and critique a past project of your own using the same framework. But if you have an opportunity, try to pull people together to have that critique with you. It could be a lot of fun. And day 5, tell the story. So present a digital proposal to a fictional stakeholder or a real one. Find someone you know who is a product owner or would normally be a stakeholder and try to pitch it to them. It may require some lead in where you talk about some of the foundations of what you're doing. But ultimately, day 2, the alignment document and considering some of the user stories when thinking about alignment could help you with this conversation. But it may be good to take that day 2 document and form it to something that feels like a shorter conversation you might have with someone who is an executive. So a brief pitch to talk about, hey, this is the problem we're solving. Here are the key insights of why we thought to solve it. We're thinking we're going to head in this direction with the solution. Here's how it solves those needs. Here's how it supports the business. And here's what we would do next. Can be fairly high level, but a really great exercise to go through. And can be a lot of fun. This will definitely, hopefully, stretch your skills a lot if you've never done this before. But definitely worth going through. And frankly, this exercise, if it's your first time, I would go through it. Give yourself a month. Go through it again. Give yourself some more time. Go through it again. Find opportunities to go through this series of exercises. It can be very beneficial for you as you pursue your design career and think about actually producing things that are put out and used in the world that, frankly, most everything requires buy-in from other people to support it, like teammates and executives and users and so on and so forth. So, should be a lot of fun. Really looking forward to seeing, as always, everyone's output this week. And thank you for listening to me talk through week 18 of the Designerama.